Hello everybody! Welcome back to G-Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. Yeah, back in the battery room. Back in the battery room again. No, that's saddle again. Dang it. Alright, so, remember I was in here the other day and was talking about how I blew up a bridge rectifier. Well, I found it. Here it is. You see the cracks down below my thumb here? And all the way around the outer edge here. Yeah, this thing was fried. There was also a plate inside of here, and it blew it off of there. So there was a cover plate with all the numbers on it and stuff, serial number, and I think this was 150 amp. Anyway, the three connectors are where the PMA comes in. PMA is a permanent magnet alternator. PMG, permanent magnet generator. With a permanent magnet generator, the bridge rectifier is built right into the generator part. So you don't have one of these because it does it all inside. Before it comes down, you'll only have two wires coming out instead of three. And one will be red, one will be black, because one is positive, one is negative. But on a PMA, you have three wires, all the same color, that come out down from the PMA. So that's what this is. Three black wires coming down from my PMA. Now I was telling Bruce from Off-Grid Trucker yesterday that I'm starting to get sick of listening to the humming noise in the high winds, because the PMA is right outside of my kitchen window, about 3 feet away, but it's 21 feet high in the air. But when that thing starts humming in the wind, you can hear it. I mean, even though I can hardly hear the dogs bark outside, I can definitely hear that thing humming. And it gets irritating after a while. You know, you're trying to fall asleep and the winds are blowing and you're... It's just ridiculous. So anyway, he said, move it further away. Well, he was asking if I could move it further away. I've got 10 gauge wire coming in right now, and that goes out through the wall here, goes over about 12 feet to the mast, goes inside the mast, and goes up 21 feet to the PMA. And in the PMA, it has a 10 gauge wire on it. Now that's because I'm just that far away. Now if I was going to move it, say 20 or 30 feet away from the cabin, so it would be less noise, I'd still hear it, but it would be less noise 20 or 30 feet away from the cabin. And I'd have to up the wire size on that to 6 gauge. And that would mean a hell of an expense. Look it up online. How much would 6 gauge AWG stranded cost for, let's say, 50, 150 plus 20 times 3, that's 60, for 210 feet of 6 gauge AWG stranded. Look it up. It's not cheap. That'd be quite a bit of money. I was just looking online for PV wire because I need some PV wire to set up my new solar panels. And I was amazed at how much the price on it went up. Copper is like gold nowadays. Jeez. Anyway, back to the PMA. Again, I consider all wind power, unless you get one of those really super big commercial ones that have the each blade on it is 150 feet long. You get something like that, then it's really putting out some electricity with slow turning, and it's got a computer built into it that tilts the blades to get the best speed out of even a smaller wind. But yeah, those are those are a little more efficient, but I've seen those things on videos blow up. So I don't know if I'd want one of those on my property. That would be a fire waiting to happen with the winds we get out here. And like I told somebody once before, when I first got out here, when I was building the cabin, I got up here on a weekend and the cabin was only in its skeletal phase, and this cabin is all metal stud. And it was leaning 45 degrees downwind, and all the metal studs were bent. That's amazing, because there's no plywood on it, so it didn't like a big sail. It was just a little 2x4 standing this way, and the winds were strong enough to grab a hold of all of those like a giant sheet and blow them over. Wow. So I tied a rope around the top of it and went over to my shipping container and looped it through one of the cable hooks on the base of the trailer, base of the container. And then I made a trucker's hitch on it with a loop, and I was trying to pull it back into place to straighten it back up and hold it there till the winds died down. And a big gust came. I estimated around 80 mile an hour gust. And it lifted me off the ground, carried me 18 feet from the shipping container to the cabin, and set me back down on the ground, and it didn't set me down lightly. Back to the drawing board and pulling on the rope again, and this time, every time I pulled on it, I would get it to a point, and I would lock it in place so that the cabin framing wasn't working like a sail against me. It was locked in place. If the winds blow harder, I got a gust of wind, it's not going to make a difference because the rope is locked in place. I finally got it tied off, and then my friend Andy and I spent like a day out here with hammers and blocks of wood, straightening out all the studs and all the bent framing. The windows were trapezoids. All the window framing was trapezoids. It was amazing. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. So I say, and I've said it once, I've said it a million times, for those of you who are thinking about going off grid, forget wind power. Okay? For your initial get-go, going out there, just concentrate on lots of LiFePO4 batteries. Okay? Lots of LiFePO4 batteries. I got 4 here and 1 there, and I'm going to be ordering 3 more of those to make it 2 banks, and that should be adequate for me. And I'll see how that goes through the summer. And if it's not enough, then I'll order a 3rd bank next year. Hopefully, if the money's available. And how do I get the money available? By you joining memberships. By you watching my videos and liking them. All of that counts for me. And by you going to just check out any one of the advertisers on my channel. Just click on Visit Advertiser and go check them out. That counts as a plus for me. All that stuff helps me make money. And not only me, everybody out there on YouTube creators who are monetized. All right? So please, it doesn't cost you anything to do that. Just please do it. Click the like button. Leave a comment, share it with a friend, or visit one of the advertisers. All of that stuff counts. I really appreciate it. So anyway, my batteries are at 14.6 right now. They're in absorb. I got 95 volts coming in. And only 182 watts because the controller is shutting them down because I don't need any more. I got plenty of power in there. I only got 12.4 amps coming in, but that's probably running everything in my cabin. So there's no draw on these batteries at all right now. Only 5 batteries running right now in running my whole cabin, and I go to bed with 100% in my batteries at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I get up at 6 in the morning and I still have 84, 89, and 90% sometimes. So, and I'm running an electric heater, a little electric heater, 24/7 in there. And I'm running a freezer and a refrigerator and everything else that's in the cabin. So, yeah, you're going off grid. Invest in lots of LiFePO4 batteries. Invest in lots of solar panels. And invest in a really good setup of charge controllers, good charge controllers, and good inverters. Now, this is a 12-volt system, and it's working just fine for me, and I hate fixing things that aren't broken, but I do want to go up to 48 volts. And I showed yesterday's video how I can have the same number of batteries. So let's say I had 8 of these batteries, and right now they're in parallel, so it's a 12-volt system, and this is 230, 230, 230, 230 amps. So that's 920 amps on that set right there. Okay. So if I multiply 12.8 times 920, that'll give me the watt hours of what I get out of that, how many watts I can run for an hour. All right. Now, if I rewired these into parallel, where I went from positive to negative, positive to negative, positive to negative, and then used the negative here and the positive on the far end to go to my inverter, okay, that would put me up to 48 volts, but I'd only have 230 amp hours. So if you multiply 48 times 230, that'll give you the watt hours, and they'll be exactly the same. So a 48 volt system and a 12 volt system are wired differently. The volts go up higher in one, and the amps stay the same. And the other way of wiring it, your amps go up in sequence, and your volts stay the same. So, but if you multiply volts times amps, that gives you watts. And if you multiply volts times amp hour, that gives you watt hours. Okay. Now, this says 12 volt on it, but LiFePO4 is actually 12.8 volts. Lead acid, it's just 12 volt. So if this was a lead acid battery, it'd be 12 times 230. And if it's LiFePO4, it's 12.8 times 230. So you're getting more power. The other thing is, lead acid, you only get 50% of use out of them, so you can only draw them down 50% without permanently damaging them. But with LiFePO4, you can go all the way down 100% down on them, and they'll charge back up again. So, can't beat it. And these 5 batteries are running more than what 24 6-volt lead acid golf cart batteries hooked in series parallel would run. And they're running it more efficiently. So think about that. It's worth it. Spend the money now. Don't buy a bunch of junk like I did. Well, you know, I was learning in the beginning, but that's the whole idea behind G-Bear's Off-Grid Ways, is to teach others from my mistakes. The stuff that I did to get to where I am costs money all the way along the line. And right now, the way money has been in the last 4 years, I would love to have all that money that was wasted. It really would make a difference. All right. Anyway, let's see. This is, okay, it's not hot. I got a little computer fan here that runs 24/7 off of this charge controller, which is on that battery right there. And that battery only runs lighting and that little fan right there. So there's not much draw on that thing. Now, this one has the main draw on it. It has these 5 batteries connected to it. But you can see 14.6 volts here on the battery, which is full charge. 14.3 volts here on that battery down there, which is full charge. Hey, I'm going into the nighttime with all the energy I need. And I'll post a view or a screenshot of my Victron battery monitor here on the Bluetooth app. This has Bluetooth. That's what the blue light flashing is. That's one Bluetooth. All the other teeth are white. I know. So anyway, this will be getting all cleaned up and be switching over to 48 volt. All of this stuff comes out. There'll be one all-in-one on there. And in the video, solar and all of that stuff a couple of days ago, Tony and Leanne posted in the comment section, they posted a link to the video on the system that they have. And you guys might want to stop over and take a look at that. And if not, just go over to Doing Redneck Things Off Grid and ask Tony to send you the link to that all-in-one, because I recommended that thing. With my research, I thought it was a great item at a great price. And he's happy with it. So I want one, and I want it mounted right there, doing the work of all of this stuff. And I won't need it anymore. Cool. All right. So I'll be, I finally took the new solar panels out of the van because there's no wind today. And I was able to get them up without them becoming a sail and taking me for a ride to the next county. So I got those into the shipping container and locked up. Blew my rack down, blew my solar panel down for the temporary shot on the RV. I think I'll make a quick wooden mount right there to hang that 100-watt panel on, because the 6 15-watt panels I got up there on the top are not doing their job anymore. I think they're seen their better days. So I will probably end up taking those down off of there and taking the 2 100-watt panels off the van. Those will go up there. A 365-watt new panel will go on the van. Just a little swap around. And then I got an extra 3 365-watt panels. That'll come back here and replace a bunch of the 100-watt panels that I have, and the Harbor Freight panels that are there. And then I'll sell those to neighbors who want just a little backup system in case their power goes out. And some of the neighbors here live on grid. If you look way over there, you can see telephone poles going up. And that was all brought up by the military, who had some type of a relay station or radar station, or it might even be an underground missile silos on top of the mountains over there. So they ran the electricity in, which turned out for people up there in the mountain village, it turned out to be an advantage to them to go on grid, because they didn't have to pay for having the poles and the wires pulled. The government paid for it, and then all they had to do was pay for a jump line off of any one of the poles. All right. So I'm all ready, set up for tomorrow's, Wednesday. I'm going to get this thing running and uploading so I can go relax and watch Tony and Leanne's. I have questions because this is Tuesday night. And it's such a nice day here. I hate going indoors, but gonna have to. All right, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining me. This is G Bear signing off, and hey, when I'm doing the editing, I might even throw a joke into the end screen. Thank you for watching. So what's red and bad for your teeth? A brick.